นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะสัพเพธัมมานาลังอนิเวสายาติอิโตปรังสกจจังธัมโมโสทโพติ Today I come to explaining Dhamma in the topic of virtue apart to letting go. I have many reading and preparation, not because of the Dhamma itself, just I try to improve my vocabulary. And most of the time that when I try to come up with something new, and it's not so easy to translate in my head from Thai to English, and most of the time it becomes Tinglish, Thai and English together. Please bear with me, but I will try to explain the most of my understanding for benefit of listener and benefit of myself, the one who expound the Dhamma. In terms of virtue, if we're thinking about virtue as the high moral standard, and it can be thinking of it might come from the Supreme Being, come from God, come from supernatural being, celestial being, or someone who looking above of us and checking on us. How are you doing? What are you doing? And is it good or bad? And tick for you that this one is good one. Okay, tick for you one mark, and that one is bad one, and tick for you that -1. Everything like that, it might not be easy for many people, especially someone who doesn't want to believe in this kind of system, because sometimes most of the time that we cannot prove is it true or not. Someone who believes seems to be everything around show the sign that it's true. And someone who not believe or don't want to believe, see no sign at all. Even someone who believes, they said that is the obvious sign. How can you not seeing it? And it can have a lot of conflict between the one who believe and the one who not believe. And the one who believe seem to have authority because we have so many things that prove, that support, many texts, many scriptures that support that the system is truth. But other people, it seems they have no wisdom. They don't understand. They're not educated. And even though sometimes people might push people who not believe in another category, maybe the group of Satan believer, Satan follower, Mara, someone who following the Mara. It's easy to do like that. But because we cannot prove how and why and it's true or not. It have argued for at least since the beginning of human civilization, and even now, we cannot prove it true or not. In Buddhist perspective, we don't need to argue in that topic. Even if there is God or there is the supernatural being or not, we don't disparage them if they exist. Even though if they not exist, it don't interfere our practice, because the virtue from Buddhist perspective did not come from the command or the wish of supernatural being or God, but it comes from the law of nature. If you do the right thing, no need to wait for reward of somebody to tell the true or false or right or wrong. When you do the right thing, it's right and it's correct at that moment. And it's true at that moment. And it have a good result at that moment. The virtue like this, we can see from the perspective of human being, that we know that we are not so different from animal. We are, if we think about as a creature, we just one kind of animal. Even though we try to distinguish ourselves, try to think that we are better than animal. Yes, one sense it's quite true that we are better than animal in terms of intellectual. We don't rely or we don't following our instinct, merely instinct. We use our wisdom faculty. We use our mind ability. And we are better than animal in terms of we are able to train ourselves to be higher, to understand nature more. And when we understand nature, we know how to live or use nature to serve us according to what is supportive to ourselves. Mainly, both of us know happiness, the kind of happiness that we human being and animal know, that when we gain things, when we get things, get what we want, it makes us happy. And when we see beautiful things, we taste delicious food, and we contact with comfortable environment, not too hard, not too soft, not too wet, not too hot, that make us happy. When we encounter with the thought, beautiful, nice, no worry, comfortable, easy, that make us happy. This sense of happiness, both human beings and animals know, and we like it. The Buddha himself never dismissed this kind of happiness. He showed us that this type of happiness have a big value. in human realm, even in the devil realm. This kind of happiness we could not neglect. And the problem when we try to rely on this kind of happiness too much is because of everyone. When we gain things, we feel that when we gain more things, it makes us happier. That's how the economy and market in the world work. The advertisement try to lead us into that direction. If you gain more, you have more things, you will be happier. When you are wealthier, when you can acquire a lot of material things, you will be more happier. That's how the advertisement try to tell us, and how our mind operates as well. We human beings, in terms of try to get more things, we think we are the best, we are the special, we are distinct from other people because we have the right. Because we are special in terms of we have more knowledge, we are clever, we have priority, we have privilege. That's how human beings operate. When everyone think like that, most of us think like that, but the resources in the world is not increased with our wish, our need. As a human being, when we are greedy, it has no limit. We can see for ourselves. At the beginning, when we are young, simple thing might give us happiness so easily. We don't need to have so many, but we can spend all day long with simple object or simple material or simple food. We are so happy. No need to think much. But when we grow up more and more, we start to acquire, we start to seek more things to give us happiness. And when we have the same thing that it used to keep us happy, to make us happy, if it stays the same all the time, we feel differently. The happiness is gone. The happiness is not there because our mind changed, our need changed, our wanted changed. And we need to increase it, either amount of it or more time with it, or when we stay with it for some time, we get bored. For example, when we love somebody, we would like to marry with them, marry with her, he or she. After we marry, before we marry, it looks like she or he is going to fulfill our lack in our life. Anything that we lack in our life, that person going to be fulfilled our lack. But after we marry, we stay together, the true nature of both being come to manifest, and we see that actually they're not 100% fulfilled. We might feel that, yes, he or she is a good person, but she should be better than that. He should be better than this. Before we marry them, we invite them to our life. We don't have that thought. We thought this only I marry her, I marry him, the world going to be fulfilled, everything going to be fulfilled. The good person will be stay with married life. They try not to change or cheating or do anything harm to each other, even though the happiness might not be what they expect. But some people, they might not be able to stand. They would like to change. They would like to do something else. Then the level of happiness is gone, it declines. This is a problem of sensual happiness, or in Pali we call kama sukha. It have to rely on material thing, rely on thing that not in ourselves, the external thing. When we can acquire the good thing, even though it is happy, we feel happy, but the sense inside our sense, we fear, we scare that we might lose it. Before we can get it, we try so hard and use a lot of effort, try to get an object that we think is going to make us happy. After we get it, we fear, we scare that we might lose it. It makes us suffer, it makes us worry. And eventually, either that object of that person leave us, or we have to leave them. We feel not happy, even thinking about it. Even though we know that everything in the world, when we come into this world, we come with the empty hands. Either you believe in religious, or you don't believe in the religious, or you have Christian, Muslim, or Buddhist, or non-religious. We know that when we pass away, we cannot get anything. We have to leave everything in this world. But the funny thing is, to letting go at this moment, to keep away that thing at this moment, is not easy to do. And when we think that material thing, the object around us that make us happy, everyone needs, they need to get that thing and have the same perspective, have the same idea. Everyone needs more and more. So the conflict start to happen because the material thing, the resources, is not increased, but our need, our want, our desire is increasing all the time. There is the Jataka that I heard from the senior monk talk long times ago. He explained the unlimited of our desire. He compared with the Jataka. The Jataka tell compare with if we have psychic power, miracle, to transform the whole mountain to be solid gold, the whole mountain to be gold, it won't be fulfilled, the wanted, the desire of a single person. Even though the gold is at the moment we might think, okay, just one bar of gold would be enough. But because of human being, when we think we want to fulfill our desire, we have psychic power to transform the whole mountain. The mountain will be not mountain of gold, we will not fulfill our wanted. This one comes from Jataka. The name of the Jataka is Mount, I could not remember exactly, Meturaja, I think, Meturaja Jataka. The story is about one of the emperor. At that time he have a long lifespan. He was a prince for 84,000 years and very happy to be a prince. After 84,000 years, he have been crowned as a crown prince for another 84,000 years. Very happy, very enjoy to be a crown prince. And then when his father passed away, he himself became the emperor with the Chakaratana. Chakaratana is like a power, the wheel, 7 types of power, that the magical wheel, that when the emperor needs something, want to go somewhere or acquire something, he just turns the wheel and that wish is fulfilled. That we call Chakaratana. After he became an emperor, became the king for some time, he started to get bored. That's it? Only this? Anything else that it can fulfill my life? Then his courtier, the one who supported him, told him that heaven, His Majesty, heaven. And the emperor think, okay, try the heaven. So he turned the Chakaratana and he moved himself to the heaven realm, to the four kingdom, the first step of heaven realm in Buddhism. And the king of the 4 kingdoms know his intention. So Mathuraja came and he asked, would you like to come and join us? Okay, I give you the whole kingdom. We give you the whole kingdom to look after. You are now the king of this heaven realm. The emperor, very happy. He was very, very happy. I was the emperor in the world, and then I came to be the heaven. Then became the king in the 4 kingdoms in the heaven realm. He was so joyful and happy. But as a human being, and the story told, it doesn't last that long. And the king, start to think, what's next? What should I do next? And his courtiers start to tell him, the next one is the Tavatimsa, the higher level of heaven. Okay, let's try. So he turned his Chakaratana. We can compare Chakaratana like power of military power or money power that you can buy, you can acquire anything, but this one magical. So he turned his Chakaratana and he appeared in the Tavatimsa, and at the time the Indra is the king of that Tavatimsa, and he know that, okay, this king, he want to share my power. So the Indra give him half of the kingdom to look after. At the beginning, that King Mathuraja very happy. I be able to look after half of the kingdom of Tavatimsa. Now I'm very, very happy. And the story went by very, very, very quickly. And the king, the Indra have changed for 36. Indra, the king, still there, still looking after half of the kingdom. Then he start to get bored, and he have the idea, what else I should do? Okay, how about the whole Tavatingsara? But the Indra is still here. What should I do? He gave me only half of the kingdom. I would like to get all of them. What should I do? The only way to get it is to kill the Indra. But because of the story told that human being could not kill the Deva, and if he want to kill the Deva, he could not be in the heaven. So by that thought, the king fell from the heaven back into the earth, and he was mourning. Even though I became a emperor of the world, I became the king of the four heaven, I became the chair kingship in the Tavatingsara, my wish, my desire never be fulfilled. That just so pity. Then he told his relative that he know him at that time. This is how the desire of human being can never end. And what is the next step that human being can acquire and can be happy from? This one, it comes to the virtue. I don't want to talk too much about virtue because there's so many of them in the list. For me, I would like to talk very simple, easy, and what I like the most, because it nourished my heart, and I learned it when I was really young, and I found it really useful. This virtue is the dana, generosity. When human beings or people start to know that to gain things, to acquire things, to achieve, and we earn more, and we see that most of the time we spend with trying to get things to make us happy, but sometimes we forgot that we ourselves have ability to be happy without having anything else. Just that ability. Many people nowadays lost that sense of ability. We don't have that ability. We gain more things, we have more material things, we earn more money, we earn more status, we earn more power, we can control other people, but we cannot make our mind happy. That we lost. But in the sense of generosity, thinking about when we love someone, when we wish that person or that thing, that animal, that being to be happy, we be able to share what we have or give what we have to them. And we lost the object, we lost the property, but we get another thing else. We gain happiness. When we see our loved one happy, we feel really delight, even happier to see that. This is the sense of generosity that I would like to focus on today, is the first principle, the first virtue, the high moral that human being in this world should contemplate on, because we have a lot of problem in the world because we are so stingy. We stingy because we want to earn more. People might want to share to others, but it's limited in our own group, only in my family, only in my follower, only in my religion's member. I don't want to share with other people. That we call Madhcharya. Madhcharya, stinginess. In Buddhism, we have 5 kinds of stinginess. Stinginess in dwelling. If you are not in my group, you're not allowed to come into this town. If you are not you're not a citizen, you are not allowed to enter this country. Things like that. You are not the monk in our group, you are not allowed to stay in this monastery that we call the stinginess in dwelling. And stinginess in labha, stinginess in wealth, in property, and stinginess in knowledge, stinginess in wisdom, 5 kinds of them. These 5 stinginess, if anyone become stream entry, they don't have this stinginess left any longer. Thinking about if we have the mind like mother, like father, when we see the proper father, proper mother, when we see that the kid be very happy when we feed them, when we give something to them, the kids very happy. And we are, even though we starving, we feel happy with them. We feel enjoy to see them grow up. If our mind can be transformed, can be expanded, not just only for our family member, not for our kid alone, we expand to neighbor, we expand to people around us. This kind of stinginess, it make society, it will make the world far more happier than nowadays. Nowadays we have free trade, we have free market. The idea, the word, it look very beautiful, it look wonderful. But if you dig deeper and contemplate deeper, and we can see that free market is not that free. Free in terms of I want to send something to your country and I don't want to pay any tax, that is free. Free in one go. And from your side to send something to me is not free. I need to charge you for something. I need to charge tax from you. It means that it's not really free. We are still stingy. We are still protect only in my own group. Even in religious circle, if you don't believe like me, you cannot go to heaven. Heaven, it belongs to my group. My God will be punished or give you a reward. If you don't believe in this, even though you are a good person, you are a kind person, you act decently, but because you not believe in particular God, you cannot be in heaven like me. And this one, it can be really big problem. It cannot solve the problem of the world. If we all human beings come to simple term, simple agreement to solve the whole world problem, instead of we try to convert people to believe like us, or try to illuminate people who don't believe like us, try to push them in another side into the follower of Satan, the follower of Mara, we come to agreement that the truth is universal. Either you believe or not believe, either you interest in religious or not, either you interest in science or not, it doesn't matter. The truth is universal. It has to be true for everyone, regardless of your belief system. If it can be like that, so it makes our life easier, because the truth it not belong to anyone. The truth belong to the nature, belong to everyone, like a fire. When you touch the fire have different name in different languages. But when you touch the fire, you see that, you feel that it have the same quality. You feel the same feeling. Even though we try to explain what the name of the fire is, it might be different in different languages. The wind, the water is the same. The air is the same. The love, the feeling of supportive to each other, when we feel the same. It doesn't matter who you believe or you don't believe, or you are skillful, you're not skillful, you are intelligent, you are not intelligent. The truth is universal. The second one, if we agree that human being is universal, all human beings in this world is the same. When you harm human being, you kill human being, you destroy human being, it have the same effect. Human beings are the same. If we can think like this, if we agree in this term, the world will be far more happier and easier to live on. But nowadays, even in America, I heard from my teacher, America is a very like a democratic world. It's the ideal for many society, many country to follow. But my teacher told me that in America, I don't know it's true or not, you have to contemplate by yourself. If you are not born male, you are not born white, you are never be equal. So human beings are always not equal in the practical world, in the daily world. And especially if you not believe in my group, you are not human being. In some religious text, in some religious scripture, even it encourages not to be friend with other group. And people quite proud that is the word from God. This one is the word from God. But you're not allowed to be friend with this kind of group. How God is so stingy. If we think in this term, if we think in why God is supposed to be kind, supposed to be have a lot of metta, have a lot of kindness towards the thing that He created. Why He not kind to the one who not believe in Him? That if we have the same value of human being and we treat human being in the same way, the problem in the world will be demolished easily. And the last one is the quality of loving kindness. We should apply that quality of loving kindness for universal loving kindness. We kind to all human beings in the same way, if we could. No need to differentiate them in terms of color, skin, in terms of nationality, in terms of their belief system, in terms of where they come from, languages. If we are kind to them as human beings, as beings, and we can expand more to other creature, other animal. If we focus on human being first and we keep this sense of metta, to other creature, this world can be very easy to live, very easy to stay. And the sense of generosity, why is so useful? Because when we think about gaining and want to get things from other people, we don't look at human being or our friend around us. What we focus on thing that is mine, that is belong to me, or it's going to belong to me. We forget about human being or animal around us. When we have the sense of generosity, we start to think about that person, that being. How do they feel? If I doing this thing to him, what is going to affect him? If I kind to him, it's going to affect him in a good way. If I'm not kind to him, I harm him, it's going to affect him in the bad way. That our concentration go toward being, go toward person. We don't look for, okay, I want to gain, I want to get, because all of us, even though we are human beings, we have the same quality in terms of being, but many people have different quality of knowledge, many different quality of wisdom, and when someone who educate more, know more, learn more, have more power, they can gain more. If we don't share, we don't help each other, we don't support each other, people might think if I gain more, and it's going to make me happy. Thinking about if we are the only one who rich in the country of war, we are the only one who are so well off in the country of so many people starving. Are they going to leave us alone? I don't think so. People around us who are hungry, who don't have enough to feed their mouth, who don't have enough to feed their family, they won't let us be happily alone. They will come to steal, to ask for, to begging from us. And we won't be happy, because when we give to them, we feel that we need to give something that makes us happy. And we have to share with someone. And it creates a lot of problem in the world. That you can see that nowadays, when I was young, I don't understand why people so envy when they see rich people. For me as a Buddhist, when I learned when I was young, instead of envy, I feel like they're part of me. They accumulate punya, accumulated punya, they accumulated virtue, that they born rich. But when I heard in the West, anyone rich, it seemed to be that they are a bad person. I don't think it's going to be true in all the cases, but what I heard, I can feel like that. And I learned later in the Buddhist scripture, there are two kinds of wealthy men. The first one we call Sethi. Sethi means the one who well off, and he looking after people around him. Like another Bintika Sethi in scripture, you can hear so many scripture talking about Anatta Bintika Sethi. He very well off, he very rich, but he looking after a lot of people in the town. This one we call Sethi, the one who looking after other people with his wealth. Another person, another group of person we call Kadumbi. Kadumbi is the one who have the same amount or even more money, but they don't want to share with anyone. And nowadays we can see that some wealthy people in the world, They might be kadumbi. They might not include in the sense of seti. They are not seti. They are not wealthy. They are kadumbi, the one who have more money. Maybe he don't want to use, he don't want to spend, he don't want to make any use of that money. What he happy, he want to accumulate and keep it for himself. In the past, in the old days, have this sense of kadumpi. Many of them in the scripture talking about that. When I was a young monk, my teacher, when I start with, who I start with, the monastic with, is Ajahn Supot in Korat. We have very little. We are from a really poor monastery, and my teacher as the abbot, the young abbot, he had just only 5 or 6 years as a monk. And as a young monk, when no one look at us as a teacher, and when they treat us not a main big teacher, the wealth and the support is not big. So we have very little. And actually, it's not that little. But compared to other monastery, compared to other senior monks, we are quite poor. And we have some kind of material, the cloth, that when the monk went for funeral, at that time, in the funeral, it's quite open. We can see how we burn the body. The people will come and offer the simple white cloth, quite cheap cloth, as the gift to the monk. And previous abbot, he accumulate and he keep that cloth, many of them, a lot of them, because it's really cheap and quite thick, and no one using it. And my teacher, after he became an abbot, and I joined him, and he asked me to learn how to make jivara and sankati, the rope for the monk. I learned how to make it, and we start to make it. When I make it well, we start to make and give away, offer to another monastery. For me, it doesn't make sense. At that time, it didn't make sense. We have so little, why we give it away? Why we give it away? I asked my teacher, why we have to give it away? Because we have very little. And my teacher told me that, I remember ever since, he said, when the old thing never gone, the new thing never come. When the old thing never gone, the old thing never gone, the new thing never come. In Thai, ของเก่าไม่ไป ของใหม่ไม่มา For me at the time it quite like something like ping, wow, that is quite deep. If we want to circulate, we want a new thing, we have to make room for it. When we don't have room for it, we accumulate, we compare to when we eat a lot of food, even so it really delicious, and that type of food is still in our body. How are we going to feel? It's going to be suffocated. It's going to be really difficult with our body. And when our body needs to have some kind of release after we use it, and it released. And when it can be released naturally, and it circulates, it makes us happy. It works in the same way our mind. Our mind works like that. When our mind accumulates a lot of things, we gain a lot of things, we earn a lot of things. To let things go, to make things, to let things go is mean that you give it up. You won't hang on it. You won't attach to it. Like I start to say, Sabbe Dhamma Nawang Nalang Apinive Saya. This one is from Majjhima Nikaya 37. When the king of God, Sakadevaraja, came to see the Buddha, and he asked the Buddha, "Can you give me the brief instruction for the monk, for the bhikkhu, who he trained himself to be to manage to end of the suffering, to be the super in terms of higher than human and God. What is the brief message that you give to them?" The Buddha come to the summary, very simple, very short. Sabbe Dhamma nalang aviniyive saya. All Dhamma, all things are not worth to adhering to. All things, all phenomena in this world are not worth to adhering to. That's simple, because when we accumulate more things and we never have ability to share, we don't have ability to let go. And one I cannot remember where the occasion was, but with Luang Por Chah, one of the person came to see Luang Por Chah and asked, "What can I get when I letting go?" That's how human beings think. What can I get? What can I earn when I letting go? That our mind operates like that. What I like the most about Luang Por Chah reply, he quite frank and direct. He said, "Lightness. It's light. And when you're letting go, it's light. You don't get anything else, but it's light." How many of us come to the monastery, come to be the practitioner, to be the religious person, to be monk, to be someone who represent religious body? We think that what it's going to be when we let it go, when we let things go, what we can get. When we come, we're thinking about ourselves. We're thinking about what I'm going to lose if I'm going to spend more time to do this. Do I have to work more? Do I have to do more things? Other people don't do it. Why I have to do it? That's how human beings think. We think about how can I earn? How can I gain? How can I get? What can I get? And we want to meditate. Most of us want to meditate and meditate and meditate. And from my own experience, when we are in the retreat time, when there are a lot of time to meditate, people are looking for something to do. But when at the normal time, when we have a lot of things to do, people want to meditate. Because of we thinking about only for me, only me as a person, me as a human being, me as special. I come here because I have a lot of problem. So you should looking after me because I am a special person. If we think about how about them, they have their problem too. If we think like that, we don't operate in terms of me or my. And when people meditate, they start to apply mindfulness. That's what we heard. Mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of walking meditation, mindfulness of many mindfulness. And the vocabulary is quite special in Buddhist term. But mind in this term, in this way, is spelled as M-I-N-D, mind, M-I-N-D, mindfulness. But most of us who meditate and try to meditate and want to meditate, we meditate with my, I-M-I-N-E, M-Y, or M-I-N-E, my, mindfulness. Thinking about me, what I want, what I get, what I earn, what I And Luang Por Sumedho always focus on emptiness and quietness and silence. Don't try to meditate. Don't try to achieve anything. Don't try. The person is not enlightened. You cannot enlighten as a person. Luang Por Sumedho focus on that. But most of us, when we meditate, we try to be my, me, what I can get, what I can earn. If we can change, can turn our intention toward, let it go, give it away, give our time away, give our comfortable away, give our stinginess away, and let it be, help other people. And the world going to be really easy to live. But I would like to emphasize more is to let us agree on universal human being, universal truth, universal loving kindness. If we can do like this and we have generous heart, virtue can develop more, and as a virtuous person, virtuous beings, it can create a lot of happiness around people, around animal, around environment, around us, because we are an environment of other people, and we are the environment of other being. If the person, only single person, be very good person, virtuous person, the one who don't want anything for himself, the one who always want to share things to other, that person can be very welcoming, can be really nice being to be around, to live with, to work with. And today, the talk on the topic of virtue as the path to letting go is come to an end. I would like to share this talk with you. Anything that you see beneficial, please contemplate and apply to use. If anything is not beneficial, please live with me and forgive me for my language, my unskillful or anything that I cannot make myself that clear. I hope all of us be practiced and close to Nibbana in this lifetime. I have questions. Let I read the questions. Someone who has retired, and is say over 65 years old, can they still become a monastic in Thai forest tradition? For example, in Amaravati, in order to help them process lifetime of resentment and delusion, and to develop their virtue before they died. Actually, to become a monk, to become a monastic, people might think from the perspective of lay supporter, the one who never be in the monastery, they might think that came to the monastery, become a monk, and then you don't need to do anything. It's free. People always support you. People always bow to you. People always respect you and give everything you want. That's how people think. And even though they never experience the monastic life, that even in Thailand they think anything like that. It looks like became a monk is an easy life. But from my own experience, so many of them try out and they complain that too much burden, too much requirement, too much time that the community asks from him, and usually they cannot stay that long. To answer is yes, people are allow and the possibility is here, but to join the monastic life is not just only one way of I want to join and I can join and the right is there. But when we come to the practical level, when we are older and older, it's really difficult to change our way of thinking, our way of thought, our way of doing things. So when we are young, it might be easier. It's easier. And it's a story of one of the old man in Savatthi. He want to ordain, but he never have any connection with the Sangha before. And the thing that the cause of he want to be ordained because he was the old man. He was quite rich, but he never be nice to his family. So one day his wife and his children just kick him out from the family, and he want to ordain. He walked from Rajagaha to Savatthi and stay in front of the monastery. And he requests the Sangha, he want to ordain, but no one want to ordain him because he never have connection with the Sangha. So he very unhappy and he's getting skinnier and skinnier. And then one day the Buddha heard about this and asked who going to support this man to be ordained. And Sariputta, the right hand man of the Buddha, told the Buddha, I can do. I would like to support him. And the Buddha asked Sariputta, in what extent, in what purpose, in what or why you want to ordain him. And he said, I remember one day I went for alms round. He gave me 1 spoon of rice. And then the cause of ordination, he can ordain. His name is Radha. And Radha ordained when he was 80 years old. No one wants to ordain someone older because it's difficult to change. And it's not easy to train. That it is the case. And if people are really easy to train, like Radha ordained when he was 80 years old, and he stayed up to, I think, 120, if I remember correctly, 120. And he is the first one that the Buddha changed from, the first time that the Buddha ordained people to be monks is by Bhikkhu Upasampada, by invite them, you are Bhikkhu, by himself. Now you are Bhikkhu. And then that person to be a Bhikkhu. And after a lot of people join the Buddha, and many Arahant ordained as a monk, and they became Arahant. That the Buddha sent them around, and they changed their ordination way to be Tisarana Kamana. It means that just recite, I take the Buddha and the Dhamma, the Sangha as the refuge, and they became the monk. And Radha Brahm, he is the first one that had been ordained as by the method that we use nowadays. We call Chatutiya Kamma Vacha. It means that we have the Sangha come to agreement, we announce 3 times, and then that person become a monk. And this The answer is yes, and I heard from our Amaravati long times ago, we limited at 50. But you may try, and then talk to the Sangha, talk to the Ajahn. If you are the one who easy to look after, easy to be trained, like Radha Brahm, and Radha Brahm he became the one who foremost in understanding of Dhamma. I have a patipana in Pali. Patipana, understand really clear when someone give a Dhamma desana. If people can be like that, yes, opportunity still there. The next question. How did you respond to the teaching about Buddhist virtue as a layman prior to becoming a monastic? What made you become a monastic? There are so many virtues to remember. How might you guide those new to Buddhism around virtues and how this relates to the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path in the way to keep things simple to remember during a difficult times? For me, it's very easy. The one who what I would like to emphasize is dana, the generosity. Very easy step to apply in Buddhist virtue. We have other thing else. We have 10 kinds of parami, virtue in sila, virtue in samadhi, virtue in panya, virtue in nekamma, ordination, relinquishment, virtue in satya. Many of them, but dana is the easy step, the easiest step. For me, why I ordain? If people ask, I always say, because I would like to pay back to my parents as a tithe. In tradition, we have to ordain at least for some time to pay our debt back to our parents. And why I'm interested in monastic life? When I was really young, I went to give a dana to the monastery every observant day. Not every, but most of the observant day. The reason I went there, mainly, people praised me quite a lot. They said, wow, it's so good. You are a young boy, you come to the monastery. That made me proud. That's the first thing. The second thing, a lot of sweet in the monastery, the leftover from the monk. That I quite enjoy it. That another sense. And what I remember, at that time we don't have car. Not a lot of. I will say that we don't have car. The car will be, for example, I can lie down on the road for an hour. No car come to our village. And when we see the car, we see the headlight come up and down, up and down. It means that I came from a very rural area, and everything, anywhere we want to go, we walk. And I remember the trail of people walk to the monastery. I'm not exaggerated. I think it's about 500. I didn't count, but I remember there's so many of them carry one bucket, their buckets, and he got the takra, with a little of good thing in their takra to the monastery. Me, one of them, who carry to the monastery, and because I had to go back to school, I have to walk back and pass them. As a young boy, they say, "Oh, you're so good. As a young boy, you're very good." That is, I feel very happy, and I have some sweet from the leftover back in my basket, and I went to my relative. At the time she sells some candy, some sweet, and she gave to me too. That generosity from them and the kind heart, kind word from them make me really interested in monastic life later. And another thing is meditation. Meditation, because I'm the one who prone to worrying. I worry quite a lot. I even worry about the oil going to finish. Even though my family didn't own the car, but I'm thinking about the future, that what should we do if the oil did finish, and what should we do? I'm really worried about that. Not exaggerated, but that's how I worry. And when someone told me something about their suffering, I start to worry too, start to think about them, worry about them, want to help them, even though I cannot help them that much, but in my gut, I can feel that it makes something not easy. I want to help them. Until I became a monk, I start to learn the sense of crocodile tears. In Thai we call น้ำตาจระเข้ The crocodile tears mean they not cry because they are unhappy. They cry because they could not get what they want. They might hurt somebody else and they're crying because they cannot hurt them enough and they cry. And I learned that, okay, don't trust their cry, their tear, that I learned later. Before that, I worry quite a lot. And then when I stay in the monastery, I learned that worry doesn't help. This is what I would like to reply to this question. Where the substance and the behavioral addiction mentioned in the Buddha times, are you aware of 12 steps of recovery pioneer in Alcoholic Anonymous, where addiction can gain substance and healing from substance and behavior of addiction? There is a process in the 12 to inventory one character defects with support and a sponsor, and then ask help from the high power to remove one's character defects, so that one character asset may reveal how might this process might release to the Buddha teaching on virtues. To be honest, I never heard about the 12 steps of recovery as an alcoholic. In the Buddha time, I think many people are addicted to alcohol too, and some even addicted to wealth, addicted to food. We might not see as an addiction, but from what I learned, the sutta from the King Pasenati. King Pasenati is from Kosala country. He loved the Buddha so much. He had to come to see the Buddha all the time, many times, almost every day. But the king himself loved to eat. At that time, he might not call as an addiction, but because the king is quite well off, and the king can eat anything because he is a king, he have a lot of food to eat. And then one day after he see the Buddha, and then he always went to bow to the Buddha feet and praise the Buddha and talk very nicely about the Buddha. And until in the Tipitaka, there is the one section. It comes from King Pasenati. They call King Pasenati Kosala Sangyutta, if I remember correctly. And King Pasenati talk about the Buddha. What the king addicted was food. At the time they didn't call addiction, but the Buddha saw the king when he want to get up, when he sit, the king he felt the king is not happy. He looked like suffocated, and the Buddha asked him, taught him how to be moderate in eating, and I could not remember exactly what the mantra that the Buddha gave him, but the king asked his nephew to memorize it anytime he's going to eat, and asked his nephew to recite for him before he eat, and then until he gained his body strength and his body look slimmer, and he praised the Buddha more, and that the Buddha not only concern and metta to him for the afterlife, but in this lifetime the Buddha always helped to support him. That in terms of addiction, what I heard. And in Buddhism, we not neglect or disparage the request or the help from supernatural being, supreme being. But the Buddha himself, he emphasized on effort and karma. Karma is action. We don't wait for or request things for God or supreme being. Nowadays we might want to wait to request for help. People like that, it means that they don't have strength. In Buddhism we have adhitthana. Adhitthana, we don't ask for, we don't request for, but we make firm determination. I want to do this thing. Human being can do. No need to ask for anyone, no need to ask from God. If you say, I stop smoking. One of the senior monks, when I was a teenager, at the time I love cigarette. Cigarette smells so nice, and I love it. And the senior monk, he very well known because his speech is quite funny. His name Luang Po Payom. He separate the cigarette and the mouth. He said, to stop smoking is so easy. Just don't put cigarette into your mouth. That's it. End of the story. But for me, I learned that don't put the cigarette in your hand into your mouth. You can stop smoking. And I try about 200 something times before I stop smoking. I no need to ask any help from supreme being. Even you request, you ask for, you hope for, and you're not strong enough, I don't think you cannot get away from your addiction. If you need support, you might ask support from your people around you. They will help you more. It doesn't mean that supreme human being, supreme being cannot help you, but immediate result, ask people around you, ask the doctor, ask people who trust. In Thailand, many people, they went to the monastery. The monastery Tham Kabok, for example. If many people who addicted to heroin or cocaine, even in the West, they went to Tham Kabok in Saraburi, if I remember correctly. They educate there and come back to the West. And when they ask them, have you been to Thailand? They say, yes, I went to a special school. Where is it? Tham Kabok. It means that they went for help from the monk. And then they can turn themselves from addiction to become someone who's not addicted to heroin. And many people in Thailand as well, during the Khao Phansa, during the raining season, they went to see the monk and then make a vow in front of the monk and say, during these 3 months, I won't drink. in these 3 months, I won't smoke, and then they stop. We can do like that. And not even, some people, they might just make a determination with their spouse, with their partner, in these 3 months, I won't smoke. We can do like that in front of people we can trust. And if you trust Supreme Being, do like that too. You can do that too. But keep your vow, and you can see that actually our strength is more important than the help from other people. When we just don't put the cigarette into your mouth, don't put the glass of alcohol into your mouth, you can stop addiction very quickly. This weekend is Global Citizen Life, which is part of Global Citizen 2011 Global campaign, a recovery plan for the world. The recovery plan focused on 5 key objects: ending COVID-19 for all. I wish that can be ended. 2, ended the hunger crisis, resuming learning for all, protecting life, protecting the planet, and advancing equality for all. That for me, I found it really good